cat is out of the bag officially, Kevin.
And you kept them waiting, I guess, for another 3 minutes. How dare you?
Well, we're working so hard behind the scenes. I did almost forget that we planned this launch.
It's all good, all good. A lot of moving parts, a lot of good stuff. Yeah,
Absolutely.
it's exciting. It's exciting. Again, I gotta tell you, like the last, 6 months, I've had really good interactions with the industry, with some vendors and channel partners, and it's a mini sabbatical, after stepping away, um, and yeah, so it's been a lot of behind the scenes groundwork getting this put together and bringing it out to market with the soft launch here. Was it 2 days ago, and the official launch here in about 3 weeks, and so yeah, it's exciting. I'm feeling it.
Yeah, and got already getting some support out there. Andrew, thank you. Super exciting stuff, guys. Thank you, Andrew. Always a supporter, and we always support what you got going on over there in LinkedIn world. And it's yeah, it's been a journey again. This is our third. I guess you could call it our third journey now, Kevin. And
Yeah,
we're like the Lord of the Rings. This is maybe it'd be the final
trilogy,
installment, maybe. But
trilogy. The saga continues.
yeah, yeah.
Something like that. Yeah,
Uh, and if anybody else out there listening, we always love to hear where you're listening in from. And if you have questions, comments, we love to hear from you. Eric, always a supporter of ours, on the edge of my seat. Excited
awesome,
for y'all. Thanks, Eric, for the support.
good stuff. No, it's funny. The last couple of months that we just toyed around with this podcast, and some of the technical difficulties of getting us off the ground and not knowing what this was going to be, and but still working on developing out this platform at the same time. It's just, you think about all the follies. We should have, yes, you talked about this early on, is we should have videoed the behind the scenes. In fact, I think that's what this podcast originally was going to be. It was going to be a
Yeah,
behind the scenes. I started out behind the scenes of coaching or mentoring you as you launched your consulting, platform, Channel Halo. And then as we kind of got together, was it in late August, early September? I was going down this path, and you're going down your path, and made sense to really put these things together and build out this platform. But we should have really taken some candid behind the scenes, day in the life of that. Probably make for the next good reality TV show.
well, next time you listen to me when I say we should have hired a documentary movie production company.
Yeah, well, we need to figure out where we're going to place our bets in the budget, and maybe next time, maybe
Yeah.
we'll call Netflix next time. But no, that was fantastic. And before I guess we really jump into it, you were out at Channel Partners this week. How'd that go?
It was a really good event. I had the unique opportunity of actually speaking twice. You were gonna
You're
originally,
welcome.
yeah, you were gonna speak, and then I had to fill in for you at the last second. And it was a great event. It's a broader event, and they've tried to create an element of the MSP summit, which was definitely unique kind of component to it, so that MSPs felt like there was a real talk track for them. And I thought they did a good job. And I think it's a work in progress. They're going to continue to add to that. And the other piece is the much larger channel. It definitely is a bit intimidating. I haven't been to like a conference like that in a long time. I mean, one, obviously because of COVID, but just the breadth of the actual channel and the bigger players. And I think I made a comment to you. I mean, even like the PAX 8s and the Datos of the world, who are just massive in the MSP channel, we're like looking like normal booths at this event, just because of the size of some of the companies that were there. But yeah, great content, and I got pretty good feedback on my presentations, which were how to become an authority in your network, and the other one was really just utilizing LinkedIn in a B2B environment. So yeah, it was fun. It's
Yeah,
fun being out there.
you definitely mastered those. Yeah, what a great group. I'm really bummed that I wasn't able to get out there. But yeah, I remember we went out there a couple of years ago before COVID, and I remember just how the quality of the event, the experience, and they go to the nines. And so definitely one to as that grows on the MSP side, definitely one for MSPs to check out. It sounds like, so that's awesome.
Yeah, and it was, Bobby and Kelly, they put on a great show, and we announced what we're doing while I was at the show, which was fun, and I got a chance to sit down with them, and it's really fun to talk about different opportunities that you know present themselves, partnerships and stuff within the community. And see, we got another comment for you, Kevin.
Right. Oh, look at you, Chris.
Yeah,
Hey
congratulations.
there.
How does Kevin, for the people listening on an audio, how does Kevin still look like he's 20 years old?
Oh, God. Yeah. Thanks to baby face, but I'll take it. I'll take it as I edge near the half century mark. But anyway, we won't talk about that.
Yeah,
Yeah. So, yeah, it's interesting. It really does put that in perspective, right? If you see that the magnitude of the size of what's considered channel, right? I mean, I guess for most, especially in this audience, we think of channel, the primary channel, as really MSP driven, and that is a huge and very, very important and value part of the channel. But if you think about the broader definition of channel, it's massive. I mean, I don't know. You got to figure out really kind of the right numbers. I know McBain threw some stuff out there with Forrester on kind of the size and scope of the channel, and some publications will peg it at 500,000 companies. Some will peg it north of that, maybe 1 million companies globally. So it really gives you kind of a really interesting or broader sense of what the channel really is, and kind of the opportunities in channel. And so, yeah, it's always interesting to see that. And I think I first started thinking about that, back in the FOSSI. That's maybe one Chris remembers. Kind of the FOSSI GovSec days. What used to be, FOSSI for a decade in DC was the federal or government technology event. I mean, it's like you planned all year for your participation in FOSSI, and then they broke that out to GovSec and but at that point that was really more public sector focused. But you could see how large it was, and then you got to some of the bigger shows that are more just technology focused, like Cloud Expo out in California. I mean, again, it puts this idea or the concept of channel in perspective, and so it's really interesting that you saw that, and it's great that Channel Partners is looking at really how do they better serve the MSP space, and so that'll be exciting to watch that moving forward.
Absolutely. And I know you don't like when I say absolutely, but just real quick before we set everything up, Andrew Moon digging the graphics. Andrew, we appreciate that. And it's funny, I thought about this too, because Andrew's has a big orange theme, and I wasn't sure if Andrew was going to love it or just be like, why are you guys using orange like me? So
the imitation is the best form of flattery, right?
And apparently everybody thinks you look 20 today. So
hey, look at that. I'm sitting back here because you can't see the gray coming through. So.
Maybe that's the contrast. But all right, so let's now cut through that stuff and get to why we're actually here. And it's really shed a little bit of light on what channel program is, because I think there's already a lot of assumptions, and a lot of them are not necessarily correct, even though we put out we haven't laid out everything we're doing, but I've already heard different conversations and people come up to me at the event asking me, is this what we're doing? And I'm like, no, it's not what we're doing at all, actually. So I think we want to try to cut through some of that noise today and really explain what we're doing that's unique in this industry. And maybe Kevin, if you want to give like a high level, and then we'll maybe go into the different areas that we're going to be.
Yeah, definitely. And it was interesting. Just really quick piggyback on that. We had one of the larger media outlets in this space look at us as a competitor, which blew me away. But yeah, so I think it definitely warrants a little clarification. But this, again, you look at this marketplace, the channel, and specifically the MSP IT service provider, solution provider channel, right? It's massive, right? And it's massive, and it's fragmented, and it's creating a lot of noise, a lot of friction within this marketplace. And so, as I took some time to think through what's next, and looked at some of the challenges that we could solve, much like we did with ID Agent. ID Agent was really an exercise in simplicity, right? It was take this complex idea of cybersecurity and break it down to the most common denominator, right? And create a tool that allowed the channel to demonstrate how bad cybersecurity is right now, how bad the need is for cybersecurity solutions. And that was one of the the cornerstones of ID Agent, right? And showing compromised credentials. And so if you look at this marketplace as well, right? You look at if you look at ID Agent maybe as a disruptor in a sense, we look at what we can do is disrupting somewhat of the status quo, and it's not to compete or be antagonistic to the communities that are out there, the media platforms or the consulting firm. I mean, this what we're trying to do is create a common platform for everybody within the channel, right? And so if you start to dissect the challenges that are really out there, and let's start on the vendor side, right? ID Agent was unique because we had a magic trick, right? We had a magic trick at these events where we could show instantly how bad cybersecurity was, right? But not very many vendors have that same type of magic trick. It doesn't exist. There's some, I think, really interesting vendors out there that are creating it, and I'm really excited about, again, our show sponsor, Mail Protector. They are building a magic trick, and that'll be pretty awesome to see once these guys bring that out to market. But so you look at the average vendor, it's hard, it's noisy, right? It's hard to break in and create scale, create momentum, differentiate. And there are hundreds, if not thousands, of vendors that are in and around the periphery of this space that just they can't enter the space, or they don't know how to enter the space, or they're boxed out, or it's just too expensive. And so the last 20 plus years building consulting firms and dealing with bleeding edge technologies, one of the first things we can do is help bring these really cutting edge, kick butt vendors to market, right? And show a broader perspective of what's out there, right? And they're, in a lot of cases, very complementary to the platforms that are out there, and additive. And so that's one of the challenges to start with, right? Is how do we help, bring vendors to the marketplace? On the other hand, to the MSPs, right? It creates a lot of noise, right? A lot of these shows, I mean, you get overwhelmed with the number of vendors that are at these shows, and how does the industry, how does a technician at an MSP, see what's out there, and how do they provide feedback? How do they control or provide influence over this industry and what happens, what vendors make it in this industry and don't? And so that's one of the other equations to solve for, right? Is how do we bring the other side of the industry together with the vendors and create this entry point, and then at that we create this entry point, then it allows the vendors to go out to the communities. It allows them to go out to all the trade shows and all the different resources that are out there and scale more effectively. So this is why this is when you have these groups are like, wait, are you competing with us? No, this should be additive for the entire industry and complement what's out there already.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're ultimately going to play very, very nice with with everybody. When and where is the first channel program trade show? So not in person, referring now, but I think that leads me right into one of the problems we believe we're solving with channel pitch. And so Eric, that is a virtual event, and again, it's to simplify. I actually talked to many MSPs about how they don't have time to evaluate vendor after vendor after vendor, and we believe we're making this a much more simplistic format so that people can actually evaluate, and not just evaluate, but give their influence a lot, especially for the new emerging vendors who really do need that feedback early on in that process. And so really, the premise around channel pitch is, at least from the MSP side, or IT service provider side, is to allow you to attend anonymously unless you want to give up your information. So if you see a pitch and you're like, wow, that's something I really want to hear more about, I'd like to do a demo, you're going to be able to, interact in that way post event. But really the idea is to kind of cut out all the fluff. And it's not just fluff, but it's also it's interesting because I'm a massive proponent of providing education in presentations.
Oh, I thought you could say master proponent of fluff, but go
No,
on.
very, very funny. Too bad there's not like a live studio audience to support your comedy, but but um, you know, I kind of made my name providing that educational content at ID Agent. But the truth is, there's hundreds of events a vendor can do that. Um, this is really to cut to the really specific areas that a person needs to, an owner, a tech needs to get to figure out if is this a vendor I need to speak more to? What are the challenges you're solving? How are you different? What's your pricing structure? What's your partner program look like? So those are the things that we're going to really hone in on and sort of really guide the vendors to present in those presentations. It's,
and just to jump in on that, sorry, but one of the more interesting or funner aspects of what we're doing is that we've built an interactive platform, right? So we didn't take this, Zoom approach, right? We've built I think a really, really kick butt tool, right, that facilitates this. And so a lot of the last several months has been, bringing these together. We got a development team of almost 10 now. I think there's 9 on the team. And so we've wanted to build something that that facilitates this and that is scalable and leverageable. So yeah, it's not just hey, give me your thoughts and insights, right? This will be a very kick butt platform as we go to launch. We'll start peeling back more on screens and stuff like that. But yeah, this will be really a unique experience, because the last thing people want to do is sit through the same old boring, webinar, right, or online presentation. It just that go to about 2 months into COVID, right? So if we're going to do this, we have to do this in a very unique and meaningful way, and that's what we've built. One part of the platform that we built.
Yeah, I mean, and for any of the vendors that are listening, it allows you an opportunity to hone your pitch skills, and especially if you're a new emerging vendor who is thinking about making massive investments in the channel, you need some quantitative and qualitative data before you spend the $50,000 to go on main stage at some big, massive physical event. Get that feedback from the community. Get some of these MSPs on your advisory councils and things like that. That's invaluable information for a vendor, and it's going to be a really unique experience. And so, of course, the one plug I do have below is, we want people to sign up at channelprogram.com/about/pitch. We're going to simplify that and make it a little easier to sign up from the website. But all you got to do is go there, hit register, and we'll get you signed up for a channel pitch. And Kevin, the next thing that we talked about in the press release was Channel Explorer. Do you want to give kind of some of the high level stuff on that that's going to be launching, I guess, towards the end of the month?
Yeah, look, that plays into, that's maybe the second element of this platform that we've been working behind the scenes on. Is this is an interactive platform, and it's not gated, right? It's not guarded. There are tens of thousands of individuals in this industry that can provide influence. They just don't provide influence. And then there's some really major influencers that have a big voice, and we can provide them a platform that's specific to our industry, to channel in general. And so Explorer will allow both sides of this marketplace to really engage, interact, some in a public capacity, some in a private capacity. So that part is going to be really interesting to see the scale, right? And it's this platform it's all interactive, so it's not post, right? It's not just post text or and hide behind text. This is designed to create more of a interactive experience across the entire industry. So yeah, so we'll expose more on Explorer here in the next 2 or 3 weeks, but that's going to be, I think, a really significant value for the vendors, and the MSPs, and
Yeah.
the channel.
Yeah, and I think it's going to give a lot more voice to, MSPs or individuals at MSPs that are looking to, become thought leaders in this space. And it goes, actually, Barbara made a point. It was referring back to channel pitch, but I think it plays really well into what we're talking about with Explorer. And it says, from a diversity and inclusion perspective, this is amazing. Being able to attend virtually, I can hear all the details. Background noise is very distracting. Yeah, so if she's living in a remote market, this helps me find one place for information on all tools. So yeah, Barbara, certainly, yeah, I think you're hitting the head there. And again, an issue I've heard time and time again when I'm at events, is, for MSPs, is not feeling like the same MSPs have this, a different, are always the ones being featured with the vendors and things like that, or not having some of the vendor relationships that they want. So I think this really does give them that a new opportunity. Andrew mentioned he loves the anonymity approach. He's getting tons of feedback about how painful it is for MSP to get the vendor information they need without that never-ending sales pitch. And
Yeah. No, look, I think the providing, protecting privacy is, I think, a massive element of, what we want to bring to the table. We want the, raw feedback. I think the vendors are going to want the raw feedback just as much as they want the leads, right? But we also give the industry, give channel the ability to engage, and so they can decide, how they engage with the vendors and at what level. Again, there's several levels,
Yep.
there are several ways that industry can engage with vendors across this platform. But yeah, I mean, I think protecting the privacy is, I think, a massive thing, right? Because that's I won't espouse too much on it, but that is that's a, I think, a really important thing for industry, just in general, right? I think for all of us. So if we can empower channel with that approach, and they can feel good that we're not going out there and selling their data, and we're not going out there and repackaging it and stuff like that, will allow them to see what they want to see, and we'll provide maybe some marketing or advertising opportunities here and there. But yeah, again, we want to take a little bit different approach, right? And I think it's a part of it is a privacy first approach, but that's where you get that, as Matt mentioned, that the qualitative and quantitative feedback, that very useful feedback for the vendors. And with that, as these vendors pitch and they follow the model that we've established, the framework, they will have industry interacting with them. And that's a great thing about how this platform is built. These guys have just done a fantastic job in creating that experience.
Absolutely. And we got Matt Lee joining us. And Matt, hello. Thank you for joining us.
There he is.
The other component I want to talk about, one of the things I'm actually most excited, I think it's the most fun to talk about, is channel cache. And this is so unique. It's really the industry's first vendor agnostic MDF program. Kevin, if I'm reading my notes correctly, we are giving away lots of money to MSPs and IT service providers each quarter. And if you want to walk them through that a little bit, and I'll provide some of the other details around it. But very exciting because, and I'll just set up the challenge, I guess, and maybe you can talk a little bit.
Yeah.
Or were you going to go into the challenge?
You go into it.
All right. Well, again, talking to thousands of MSPs over the years, it's just you ask questions, you ask what's challenging, and MDF is a huge challenge. I literally just saw Rob Ray, at Channel Partners, and he tells the audience, he's like, I have hundreds of thousands of dollars that I have available for you as a Datto partner, but people aren't necessarily going after it, and a lot of the reasons because there's these application forms that people have to go through. It's challenging application forms sometimes, and each vendor is different. So I'm sure there's some easier ones. And then there's the providing of ROI reports after the fact, right? Because of course, if you take a vendor's money, they want you to sell their product at the event. And so we looked at that and like, well, how can we help MSPs in a different way? And that's really kind of how Channel Cash blossomed. I'll let you kind of chime in on some of the details, and I'll chime
Yeah,
in
and to
as
be
well.
clear, from what I understand, Dato's our MDF program is super easy.
Yes,
So
I wasn't.
yeah, just to clear that up, because I think
Yeah.
Rob and those guys do a fantastic job, and they're always encouraging partners to participate in that program. But so for this, it's funny when with ID Agent, and our price points with our products didn't really lend to creating this robust MDF program. All right, I mean, we were charging a couple $1,000s a year, and and so peeling out a couple $1,000s for one partner, the economics just didn't really work out. And then as Matt mentioned, for most vendors, most of your tier one vendors, you think about. I remember back in the day when we were a large Oracle partner with Windvale, we had request marketing funds, and we were doing radio commercials, and we were doing all kinds of things in the DC area, and the administration side of that was just it was a massive undertaking to report back ROI and metrics, and just the process and the time it took, and the timing of when you got MDF and the activity and within their calendar. It was just painful. And so we looked at ways that we could, in theory or in sense, give back to the industry. We could create an MDF program that wasn't tied to a specific vendor, right? This MDF program is developed to encourage channel to do events, right? It's we want channel to go out there and create live events, webinars, online events. And we just ask that they participate in 2 pitches every quarter, and that if they're selected, that they give us some props out there on social media. But we've got, I think we're up to the ability to give away MDF to about 320, 340 MSPs every quarter, and there's a very, very, very basic application process. I mean, it's ridiculously basic. It's a handful of questions. Again, they have to attend 2 channel pitches in a quarter, and at the end of the quarter, we'll select 300 plus MSPs that will be eligible for up to $5,000 in reimbursement for their events for the next quarter. All right, so we'll make it ridiculously easy, but we want to help encourage the industry to grow, right? To go out and try new sales activities, try different ways to grow, and I think the primary way is going to be through events, and hopefully more in person as we get back to normal here. And so we want to create a very, very simple MDF program that we can scale with the industry as we scale. So we'll start out with $200,000 over this next 12 months, and who knows where it scales from there. But again, we want to make it easy. We want to encourage growth, and we want to encourage collaboration, and that's part of this MDF program.
Yeah, and just again to highlight just some of the awards that are going to be given out each quarter. And so that, like you said, the grand prize will be up to $5,000 of reimbursement. 10 companies are going to get 1,000, 20 are going to get 500, 40 are going to get 250. So lots of MDF is going to be going around, and again, we want to really help support the community in a really unique way, and very, very minimal asks, I think, for this. And Kevin, and we'll highlight as we continue to talk about Cash and launch it in a more formal way. We're also going to highlight ways that you can increase your odds of winning. It's having more people from your organization sign up to go to the pitches. I mean, you could literally double, triple, quadruple your chances of being selected for the Channel Cash just by having other people in your company attend. So a couple different ways that you can increase those chances, and again, a lot more details to come out. But I think today we really wanted to just highlight those 3 areas. We've got some other areas that we'll be going down as well in the next few months, but I think these are going to be the first 3 that you're really going to be hearing the most about, and definitely wanted to kind of cut through some of the noise that was, that people kind of initially thought of what we were doing, and really clarify a few talking points there. So
this is it's funny. As we looked at, like, how do we position what we're doing? We used some big hairy audacious words like revolution and democratization of the industry, and it's really, we want to create this platform that allows everybody to participate in really a meaningful way. And so that's the part that's exciting. And we've gotten, just over the last 2 days since we launched, it's been, the feedback and the rate of folks signing up to participate it's been awesome. It's been, really reinforced. It really enforces what we're doing, and the need in the industry for something that's a little bit different, but again, complements the industry versus completely goes the opposite direction. But yeah, again, we keep things in perspective about the size of our industry. It's massive. I mean, $1 trillion, multiple trillions of dollars that go technology spend, and a significant portion of that goes through this community. And so if we can make this community more efficient, if we can take out a lot of friction in this community, then our mission will be accomplished, right? If we can even create 1 or 2% more efficiency in this industry, then that just generates ridiculous ROI across the board. And so hopefully this has a significant impact on MSPs growing, on vendors growing, and just a whole happy, awesome industry.
Yeah. And so whether you're on the MSP IT solutions provider side or on the vendor side, now's your opportunity to command your channel. You like how I did that, Kevin? Brought it back to our slogan.
Well done.
And I think we'll end things here on that today. So, but thank you everyone for tuning in, especially the people who chimed in during this. Always makes it a more fun live stream when we hear from the people listening. So thank you for the support out there. And any other final things, Kevin?
No, that's it. I think stay tuned over the next couple of weeks as we really crank things up. Our team's growing. I think we're up to now 15 people. So yeah, not bad for a startup, and some might say a harebrained idea, but we'll prove them wrong.
Yeah. So. And register. Go register. And if you're a vendor out there, reach out to me directly, matt@channelprogram.com. Those spots are going to fill extremely fast. Yeah. So thank you so much. Have a great day.
Thanks.